Hello, this is Al Dare from the shores of Mickey's Bait and Tackle. We're an Oneida Lake bait shop. Oneida Lake is located in central New York, upstate, just on the outskirts of Syracuse. We've been there, I'd say over 60 years, and we cater to a lot of the Oneida Lake anglers. And this particular tying show is indication of that, because we're going to tie a forage base minnow pattern in a jig. It's a perch pattern, and in this, just about all during the walleye season, which is most of the summer, and bass season, these perch provide a substantial part of the diet for most of your species in that lake. So today we're going to tie a traditional perch jig, and the unique thing about this is you'll see that it, like a perch, has the characteristic stripes. And I'm going to show you how to make those stripes. It's really easy, but it really gives it, I think, that je ne sais quoi quality that makes it, I love that phrase, that makes it look like a darn minnow, or if I should say a small perch. So let's do this. Let's tie a perch jig. And we'll also do a Johnny Darter in another episode here. But we sell a lot of these, and it's because they work. They catch fish. And I'll be using a black jig head. Okay, I haven't painted the eye on this yet. I'm going to put that in the vise. Hook placement, of course, is always of the utmost importance. You want a vise that's going to really hold on. When you're tying typically jigs in the 1/4 ounce, 3/8, ½ ounce, you want to get a vise that's really got some strong jaws. Otherwise, that hook's going to be slipping around on you. So we put that in that vise, and I'm going to use a good strong black thread. This happens to be a 3/0 size flat wax nylon. And I'll start my thread, and I'm using also a collared jig. You see the collar, that's where your materials will be placed. There's a big difference between using a collar jig and one that does not have a collar. These are typically more difficult to tie, but you end up with a much slimmer profile. And I think what we'll do is when we do the Johnny Darter, which is this little guy here, we'll tie this with a collarless so you can see the difference, and we'll talk about the difference too. So I'll start my thread right on that collar, and it provides a very nice base for adding materials. Very easy to tie. Get rid of that tag. Okay, I'm going to put my cheaters on here. Make it a little easy for me to see. There we go. Okay, and then the first material that I'll be putting on for this particular one, when we tie these perch jigs, they can vary. You can do variations of the colors. I'm going to be using for the top of the perch a black. The bottom is going to be an orange, and the center is going to be a sort of a fluorescent yellow. So the first material, this being upside down in the vise, we're going to be tying our orange right on the top, like that. Okay, we measure like so, and then I cut nice and straight. Okay, like that. That's about right. And I don't like stacking my my hair, because when you stack, that is when you put that inside a stacker and you get all the ends of the fibers nice and even, what you end up with is a paintbrush. And if you're careful about selecting your materials and doing material handling, you can actually get a very nice tapered effect by not stacking, and that's what I like. It looks more natural. But measuring that is a very important procedure, and it's a little too long yet. Let's just cut a little more off of that. There. Serrated scissors help too when doing any kind of hair work, especially with bucktail. And I'm going to start that wrapping over itself a couple of times. Get that established. Okay, the next material is going to be this fluorescent yellow. And I think we'll do this in two parts. Any good jig is basically consists of component parts. Okay, you don't want to try to get all the hair on at once. Impossible. And you'll end up with a very weak product. The hair will eventually come out. So what we'll do is we'll add one side on this for the yellow and the other side yellow on that. I'll cut it the same length. Okay. Like that. We'll get that established on this side. Okay. And then we'll do another section of yellow, fluorescent yellow. You could use a yellow like this too, but in this case we're going with the fluorescent yellow. Measure that. Okay, cut that also. And the nice thing about a rotating vise is you can see what's going on the other side. Okay, just going to cut that a little more. All right. Get that established. Okay, now we have our orange belly with our yellow on both sides, and now all we have to do is the top, which is going to be a dark. In this case it's going to be a black. We could use an olive, we could use a dark brown. So like I say, you can get different variations of the perch, and depending upon the waters that you're fishing. Perch can vary from lake to lake. This is a popular one for some reason for Oneida Lake, this guy here. And there's my scissors again. Good. And that's going to go underneath like that. We'll get that established. And notice I'm not using a lot of material because I really want a sparse looking final jig. At the end of the deal here, it's the sparse jigs that may not necessarily catch the fishermen. I suppose if I put this on the wall at the shop, it wouldn't sell as well as the ones that are tied full. But the sparse jigs that you tie have a lot more action in the water. And for that reason, they seem more natural in appearance, and they just seem to work better. So that's the advantage of tying your own. As you see, I'm wrapping a nice tight collar now. Okay, good. And then we'll whip finish this. You could whip finish by hand, or you could use a traditional whip finish tool like this one here. This happens to be a good one for jigs because it's got the extra wide gap. By gap, I mean this part here. It's extra wide. It's great for jigs. Okay, and we'll just cut that thread. We just wrap the thread over itself, essentially. Get that a cut. Okay, there's our jig. It's not finished yet. We still have to put the stripes in. And we'll talk about adding head cement, too, here in a little while. But let's get the stripes in this thing. This is kind of the cool part. All right. Orange belly, yellow, sort of a fluorescent yellow sides, and a top that's black. Okay, I'll get my vise out of the way here. And I'm going to bring a couple of pieces of cardboard into the mix. Real simple. Okay. And what I'll do is I'll lay that jig down there on that cardboard. And I've got a straight edge, another piece of cardboard. You could use a ruler. You take a black Sharpie or any good indelible black marker. Black magic marker will work. And you put that straight edge right on that jig, just like that, and you just draw a nice line right there, and you move it up again, draw another line. Okay. Give it another, maybe in this case, 1/4 of an inch between the lines. Give it another line. Another one. Okay. Another one. If you're going to paint eyes, yeah, I would use 2 colors. I would use a yellow and a black, and a nail head or a toothpick. Okay, what I would do is I'd take the nail head, this is kind of exaggerated, dip it inside the cap, as the cap's reversed, of course, and then just use it like a rubber stamp. Boom, just like that. You get a nice round circle. Dip it again, do the other side, boom, and you get basically this here in yellow, and then let it dry, then come back and then just do a black center. And when you do the black center, use something smaller nail head, or even a toothpick for your really smallest jigs. Just dip it in there and then just go right into the center. Boom, just like that, and then let it dry. Well, that's it for today. I can't think of anything else, and I appreciate you being here at Mickey's Bait and Tackle, tying a perch jig. Thank you.